All right, everyone, welcome to Real Talk Fire. Today, we have a special guest who's the founder of Dawgs, Evan Mendoza here. And today we're just gonna ask him some questions about his project, and he'll tell you a little bit about what's going on. And I'll put all the links down below later on so you guys can join the social. So Evan, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I kind of like, whoever interviewed to introduce themselves, because if I start asking questions, I'm just going to butcher it. So why don't you just tell us really quickly a little bit about yourself, as much as you want, and then I'll ask questions along the way.
Absolutely. So my name is Evan Mendoza. I'm a professional baseball player with the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm also the founder and, more importantly, artist behind the Dawgs. It's a baseball-inspired PFP collection, and honestly, it's my baby. I put a lot of effort into it, a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, and I've always been a creative person, so I felt like NFTs has kind of been my home the past year. And of course, I would love all of you guys to take a look at it.
Right. And that's something that really caught my eye, that you were the one designing everything. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of how, were you always an artist as a kid? Did that something happen along the way? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I feel like throughout my childhood, I always was creative and artistic, but I never was able to actually realize that. So the past 4 or 5 months, honestly, is when I took it all in, took a step back, and I kind of just analyzed my entire life, my entire childhood. And I was like, man, I've been artistic this entire time, but I never knew it. So like when I was in second or third grade, my mom put me in a self-portrait class. I loved the outcome, the final product. And that was just like the very first artistic memory that I really remember having. Throughout my childhood, my family moved a lot, and I basically had to find some time to fill my time and be creative with that. So I would love to do like model planes and model cars that you would be able to buy at Michael's, like the kits almost, and then I would paint them all. Of course, that's not necessarily like sketching or painting on a canvas, but that was one way that I was able to do something that I loved and I was passionate about. High school, I learned some 3D modeling software as well as some architectural programs. Also love some photography, some time-lapse stuff. So basically, yeah, a year ago, I viewed NFTs as an awesome opportunity to express my creativity in the digital format.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you bought some, which I'm sure you did. Can you tell us kind of how you got involved in NFTs like a year ago?
So
Did you
honestly,
buy any?
yeah. So the first time around, I view the first time around as the months of February, March, and April for me back in 2021. I created one of ones, and I didn't know the proper etiquette. I didn't know that you should start collecting before you should start selling. So a lot of lessons learned that first go around. Another lesson, which was the last project I saw on my Twitter feed, was the Bored Apes. Selling for around $1,000 at the time, and I told myself that was too expensive. That was too expensive for an NFT. So I definitely missed out on that, and that was another lesson learned. But I took some time off to focus on my season, my baseball season, which usually runs from the months of April until September. I rejoined basically the NFT community and really dove deep into it around late July, early August, and I started reconnecting with the people that I was talking to a few months prior. Told myself, I'm going to learn from those mistakes I made a few months ago and do things the right way. And that's when I started collecting a lot more, communicating with other communities, and just, being a positive figure in not only the sports world, but also the NFT world.
Yeah, that's very admirable for anyone, not only a professional athlete who has probably no time, but to really kick that off and have some success with it. And how did you find time? I mean, you're training, and this is probably towards the end of your season, right? But you still found time to do it. And most NFT projects has a lot of traits. And I think you have 7,000, right? Like, how many traits did you create, if you don't mind me asking? I didn't look too deep enough, but that probably took a lot of hours, right? Or did you kind of outsource that to someone else?
No, so I actually created the first ever Diamond Dog as one single layer. I literally had no clue on how to create a PFP collection about 5 months ago, which is really crazy to say. And of course, I just asked the right questions and I was guided by the right people. But we have over 200 traits that I created all individually on Procreate on my iPad. And honestly, that was the most fun part about this entire journey of creating the Diamond Dawgs, is that creative journey of, what do baseball players do? What could I add that's a fun trait that really embodies everything baseball? Whether that's chewing bubble gum, spitting sunflower seeds, wearing eye black, wearing some gold chains, whatever it may be, that really just basically shows what the game of baseball is all about. So that was kind of my message going into it, was I'm going to integrate some NFT people to the sport of baseball, and then hopefully have some baseball fans be integrated to the NFT world as well.
Yeah, that's another admirable thing, because that's a hump, right? Because you have to onboard people not only to NFTs, but to crypto as well, because there's not an easy on-ramp with credit cards yet, at least very few, right? So during that whole process, how long did it take you to create individually those 200 traits?
It was spread out basically from the first week of August all the way until probably late September. That was me not necessarily understanding everything that goes into it. If you told me, today, build out the Diamond Dawgs, every single trait that we have, it could probably take me anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, just because of my time and the process would be a little bit more efficient. But yeah, there was a lot of learning curve to understand how the layers need to be added up onto each other. That way there aren't any problems with layering each layer on top to create the image. And that definitely happened. So understanding it now is something that I'm going to be excited to learn. That way, future projects that I create, I'll be able to do it a lot more efficient.
Well, I hope you go long-lasting career in Major League Baseball, but if not, you found a way to do it in 2 to 3 weeks while training. You could probably do it in like 3 or 4 days if you weren't doing anything, right? And there's probably massive opportunity for you, but I hope you just kick butt in baseball and just not have to design as much, only for your enjoyment. Question about how did you come up with the idea for Dawgs? Why Dawgs?
So this past season, the season of 2021, our team saying was basically "swing it, dog." Whenever we took a really aggressive swing, our dugout would basically yell as a way of encouraging the hitter on our team to keep it going. Basically, I like that enthusiasm. I like the effort. Even if we swung and missed, even if we fouled it off, we were swinging for the fences. We were swinging, hard and aggressive. And our whole dugout could see that. So there was a guy from Jersey that, started that saying, "Swing it, dog." And I remember basically the first week of August when I created the first Diamond Dawg, I was looking at a blank canvas. I said, man, I really want to create a PFP collection. What could I do it around that has personality? And in the back of my head, I just heard "swing it, dog," but I didn't really hear the word "swing it." I heard the word "dog" though, and I was like, "Oh, I love dogs. Let's do it. Let's find a good, base dog. Let's add some cool baseball traits, whether it's a diamond necklace, sunglasses, a beard." And then that's where it all started from, and that inspiration of a team saying of "swing it, dog," which, I love the story behind that. And then of course the diamond part. NFT world, crypto, stocks, whatever it may be, to have diamond hands. The diamond symbolism I think is awesome, but then also the baseball field, it's a diamond. That's our infield. It's a diamond. So the synergy of both of my creative side, my baseball side, meshing the two together and simply the Diamond Dawgs, I think it's a really cool story behind it.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna date myself. I'm the year of the dog, so you can just kind of backward calculate that later on in the Chinese zodiac to see how old I am. So I'm probably gonna grab a few of these dogs myself, not only because of the dogs, but more so because of the mission. That's the first thing that grabbed me. Well, the first thing that grabbed me was that you were drawing them, and then the second thing was the renderings, and you probably did the renderings too, if I had to guess after talking to you now, because you did the Autodesk stuff of the baseball facility.
Facility.
Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Did you do those renderings yourself?
Yeah, so yeah, I did. So in sophomore year of high school, I self-taught myself Autodesk Revit, which was like an architectural program. You create some walls, went in some detail with like an electrical plan, a plumbing plan, a topography plan, and like all those things that I started just having an understanding of that. Creating, so I guess to backtrack, Diamond Dawgs HQ. It's going to be one of the things that I really, I think is a staple of, not only the Diamond Dawgs, but like how we're going to be able to use the funds to be able to basically create my biggest dream outside of playing professional baseball in the big leagues. And that is to create an indoor baseball facility for the aspiring youth, with the message of having the parents excited to go there as well. Because I want an environment where the parents are split up from the kids. I give lessons in the off season. It makes me uncomfortable sometimes when the parent is actually like hovering over the fence. Sometimes even instructing their own kid more than I am. So I obviously don't like that at all. So if I'm able to build an indoor facility with maybe a coffee shop, an outdoor lounge, maybe like a small food and beverage, that would be my goal. So Diamond Dawgs HQ would hopefully be able to be that structure of, positive energy and a great movement.
All right, and you mentioned something beyond your baseball career. So is this something that's kind of far in the future, or you're kind of like hitting the goals to kind of get there sooner?
Yeah, 100%. So this was to have an indoor baseball facility. I first had that goal maybe around 2 years ago, and that's when I was giving a lot of lessons. And honestly, the biggest thing that I was struggling with is daylight savings, and it would get dark pretty early. So that goal I had was like, man, when I turn like 40, 50 years old, I want to create a baseball facility. I had no idea that with the power of NFTs, it could potentially happen within the next 1 or 2 calendar years, which is, insane to me. But of course, that's what the power of NFTs are. And so far through this journey of, minting close to 2,000, I guess, right now, of these dogs, is making sure that we stay very transparent with our community. I try to do 2 mound visits. That's what we call our town halls, on Twitter Spaces, just to give an inside look on any internal affairs that we have within the team, any opportunities that might come our way. And so we just also did our 20% roadmap, which was basically $1,000 per day for 15 straight days. Posted all the transaction hashes. That way it's very clear to like see that we are doing what we're doing. That's one thing I want to see. If I'm buying into a community, if I'm buying into a project, I want to see transparency. I want to see, a founder that's very accessible, which I believe that I am. I try to answer DMs as much as possible. So I try to be everything that I look for in other projects as well.
Yeah, and that's something I saw on your roadmap, where I invest into a lot, or not invest, speculate on a lot of NFTs. And for a project like yours, I'm thinking to myself, don't even give us back the money. Just take it and use it towards your youth camp, because it's more useful for the fund in my mind, right? But of course, I appreciate the transparency, and of taking care of everyone and making sure that the community is happy. But yeah, that's absolutely something that is admirable. Giving back to community. But beyond the youth camp, which might or might not hit its goal sooner than before, of course, before you're 40. What else do you envision for this token? Because I seen you mention on the website and even in Discord that I can see you trying to nudge like the MLB towards utilizing this as well, right? How have they been? Like, are they receptive? Do they want to do things collaboratively?
We'll see on that aspect. Of course, right now we are currently in a lockout as of January 26th today. So I don't think that's their main focus, is to deep dive into NFTs. But I do believe each team at some point this year is going to be curious on the possibilities on integrating NFTs as ticketing, as a way to basically make their ticketing office a little bit more efficient, and also provide value to the team. If these royalties are able to funnel back up to the organization, I think that there's going to be a lot of money in that industry. And I think that I would be able to provide some insight on how that should be done, which would be really exciting to be able to, have having a lasting footprint into, how tickets are done. It would be a really revolutionary, thing that's going on.
Yeah, and I saw mentioned that possibly, if they're receptive, that there would be a diamond dog on the uniform. Is that right?
So that's actually already in the works.
Okay.
Already has been approved by a minor league baseball team.
Nice.
Which is awesome. It's still going to be a professional team. The
Right.
coolest part about this, it's the first ever minor league team that I played for within the St. Louis Cardinals organization. The team name's the State College Spikes. They're really close with the Williamsport Crosscutters. The front offices are really close. So we're going to be doing a promotional night. That's what I've decided to call it. A lot of minor league teams do this, where they change the team jerseys, change the team hats, even their Twitter handle and profile picture to, so for example, played against the Durham Bulls. That's their normal mascot. It was Shark Week when we played them, so they turned their jerseys into the Durham Sharks. So you can have a lot of fun in minor league baseball. There's not many rules. So they've already kind of confirmed to me that they would be 100% down to wear Diamond Dawgs jerseys and hats that we'll be able to produce. They actually offered to me, why not we have, that Williamsport Crosscutters, why don't we have them represent another NFT project? That way it can be like one NFT project versus another. How cool would that be? So my mind just lit up and I was like, I know exactly what project I want to do, because this specific project, each holder has their own commercial rights use. So we're actually going to be playing against the Bored Ape Yacht Club probably around July, where they have individual jerseys with individual apes on them. Those jerseys are going to be sent back to the holders that participate in that event. And then same thing with the Diamond Dawgs as well.
That's pretty cool. Is that something that's already news that's already announced?
Yeah, basically we've been on the phone with the GM of the two teams. I basically asked them, and they were like, yeah, we're 100% down to do this. Let's get the proposal written up. Let's get everything going strong. And then I kind of just asked at the end of the phone call, I was like, so could anybody technically shut this down? And they were like, who could ever possibly shut this down? And I'm like, okay, well, that answers that. Let's go. This is on. And they're like, all right, let's do it. Because they're very forward thinking as well. They like the idea of being the first baseball game representing two NFT projects. Go after it. They love that. They're always going to be able to hold that they were the first to do that. And I do suspect that in the future, maybe 10 years down the line, Major League Baseball teams might do the same. Oh
yeah, definitely. That's
it might be hard to do something like that with the Yankees and the St. Louis Cardinals, but the Miami Marlins might be able to do something like that. They're the capital of crypto, and they might be down to do something fun like that. Right.
Now, is that so? You're going to disclose the dates and everything on your Discord and Twitter when that's going to happen, or is that something you already know?
Yeah. So I just know generally it's going to be in the summer. More than likely in the month of July. But it's going to be held in State College, Pennsylvania. And of course, as I get more information, I'll be able to share it and blast it all over social media and Discord as well.
Cool. That's exciting news to hear that you have that lined up. So we still have some time to grab some Diamond Dawgs. I can't grab a base, but I can grab a Diamond Dawg. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's say you hit the youth camp, which I think you're probably going to do, and the other roadmap milestones. What do you envision Diamond Dawgs year or two down the road?
I think it's going to be the closest thing to attaching yourself to a journey of a professional athlete. You can collect a baseball card and maybe, keep up with stats every other day on, that individual on that baseball card, but to be able to actually see that player grow on the field, and more importantly off the field, with his passions that he enjoys, which for me it's my artwork. I think that's going to be really special. It's going to be completely revolutionary to the idea of how you're able to support your favorite pro athletes. I think this NFT space has the potential to literally invest in anybody, in any people out there, for what they bring to the table. Of course, that's where the creativity comes into play. But, I think not only will I be, upgrading my artwork and producing more collections, I do have a collection that I've named the Colores de Cultura, which is basically colors of my culture. I had some inspiration. I just had a few flights past couple days, and I had a lot of time to just doodle on my iPad. And I created a collection of just like 36 very vibrant different colors that just represent the colors of my game, of how I represent myself on the field, and of course, how I represent myself off the field, and to kind of show my colors in a very loud manner.
Cool. So there's going to be more projects from yourself, maybe not related to
Absolutely
baseball as well. So that's great to hear. Yeah, we would love to.
Yeah, I did just get a laptop that I'm going to be experimenting with Blender, and hopefully we'll see some 3D stuff very, very soon.
How do you find time for baseball?
Yeah.
Baseball.
No. So it's very, very surprising to a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, we have rain delays, we have downtime. Most days we get to the ballpark around 2 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. We get done maybe around 10:30, 11 is when we hit our bed or we get into our apartment. Because we have that adrenaline from the game, usually I won't go to sleep until maybe 2:30. So there's, 4 hours right there, 3 hours. If I decide to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, that's another 3-4 hours. So if you really put your desires and your passions as a priority, you'll find the time to do what you love. And I view that as not any type of work for me. I'm just enjoying myself doing what I love.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had some artistic bones in my body so I could apply that. And you have too.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna I want to backtrack a little bit and just kind of ask you what led you down or inspired you to be a professional athlete? Was that something you just had natural talent for, something that happened when you were young?
Yeah.
What happened there?
I just always had that passion. I was a little bit of a copycat. I always wanted to do what my brother did. So I remember one day I was on a skateboard and he was the one practicing on a baseball field. He might have been maybe 8 years old at the time, and I wanted to be out there. And I remember just that urge, that the passion that I had to, like, of course, do what my brother did. But he was having so much fun out there playing in the dirt. And I was just like, man, I want to be out. And once I started playing, I would have, as a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, I would have these vivid dreams of what it felt like to play in front of 40,000 fans. And I was like, man, I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. That's the only thing I want. And, I was, able to view baseball my entire life, and still currently today, as, a passion. It's, fun. I don't view it as work. It's something that I really enjoy. And every time that I work out or do what's necessary, whether that's eating healthy, taking my vitamins, getting enough sleep, trying to do a couple workouts a day, those are all things that I have to do to be able to play the game that I love.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm not a baseball fanatic, even though I am in the Bay and there's the Athletic A's and then San Francisco Giants out there. What position do you play?
So I'm a shortstop.
Okay.
Haven't really been a shortstop my whole life, which is, fun. But this past season, I played a lot of games there and was able to show what I can do, at least with the glove, which I think that's what I'm more known as, is a really good defender. The hitting has been up and down, but that's kind of a phrase that they say within the baseball world, is our defense, your defense should be more like the thermostat in your house. Of course, you can set the temperature for whatever you want, And that way it stays stable, it stays good, it stays consistent. You're hitting, it's going to be more like the weather. There are going to be days when you're really, really hot. There are going to be days when you're really, really cold. And sometimes you can't, you can't let the two go back and forth. You can't leave the doors open, and that way one affects the other. So, that's one way I kind of view my game is I'm going to stay consistent on defense. That's what I'm kind of known for. And when the bat starts getting hot, that's when, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to catching you in some games. I'll try to look for your schedule and put it down below for everyone as well. It seems to me that you're passionate about, everything. I'm not everything, the things that you love and enjoy, and you put a lot of heart and detail into it. So I definitely think that you're a person that's going to deliver on anything that he talks about in terms of project-wise, baseball. So I hope you do really well and crush it in both.
Yeah, you got to get yourself a signature series. That's one thing I want to hit on real quick. A signature series is basically a signature in the bottom right. This is like the real life utility. A lot of people get into NFTs, maybe are a first time NFT buyer and is a sport fan. What do I get out of owning a Diamond Dog? Well, 50% of the tokens are a signature series, which is basically a signature in the bottom right. And that's just an attribute, that's a trait. That's going to give you access to be able to redeem free tickets to any of my games, which is a cool way for my community members, my holders are able to watch me go about my passions and watch me play baseball. The stadium series, which is a stadium in the background, that's going to give you access to a one-on-one stadium tour with myself prior to the game, and that way it's going to give you guys a really good opportunity to get to know me, but more importantly for me to get to know my community members. And we can talk about anything. We can talk about food, baseball, NFTs, art, family. That's one-on-one conversation, just whatever you want to ask. Just get to know each other. So those are the two things that I'm really excited for this upcoming season to be able to see, put to use, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, maybe someone can capture that and put that in the Discord, and yeah, definitely that's something I'll look into. I did not know that. I saw that in the Discord. I did not know that those are the different tiers. Is there any other announcements or alpha that you kind of want to drop for the viewers here, or is everything kind of pretty transparent out there already?
It's pretty transparent. Our next legacy dog, which is going to be kind of a separate collection of 77 Diamond Dogs, but they're one of ones. They're in addition to the Diamond Dog collection on OpenSea, and these are all like representative of different baseball players that are from our past that have basically shaped our game. David Ortiz just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, so we saw it as very fitting to create a Diamond Dog of that resembles David Ortiz, and that's going to be legacy dog number 4 out of 77. And we're going to be just doing a timed auction to the highest bidder. And, all those proceeds are going to help fund all these awesome things that we're looking forward to do. And then later down the road, we'll use these Diamond Dogs to kind of rotate some fun charities that the community decides on. Got
it. So that's going to come kind of like on a rolling basis, not all at once, right? Those 77.
Yeah, it's going to be like every 3 or 4 days, we'll release a new Diamond Dog or a new legacy dog. The ones that we've released so far are like Willie Mays, Ted Williams, and Babe Ruth. So like very like old school players, but definitely those guys are, I want my community members that don't know baseball, I want them to know who those guys are because they're so important to the game of baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been hearing, because I love sports so much, when I listen to sports radio, that, there's a generational gap sometimes in baseball, and it's hard to pull the new generation in because they're all busy playing League of Legends and stuff like that. So you're doing another thing. You're educating the masses about baseball, something that I need to get more on top of as well. So that's something very exciting.
Yeah, I'm trying, but every little bit counts, and trying as much as possible.
Yeah, well, you're definitely doing it because it's baseball specific NFT, and NFTs right now are pretty hot. So definitely drawing some eyeballs there. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Evan, for being on the show. I don't have a show. I was going to say the show. Thank you so much, Evan, for joining us today and talking about your project. Hopefully down the road, we can talk some more and see how you're doing. Maybe take a tour of the youth camp, the baseball facility when it comes to fruition. That's something to be very, very exciting to do.
Absolutely, man. That's gonna definitely happen, and we can rewatch this interview and say that we did it. It's gonna be awesome. Nothing's impossible.
Definitely not. Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time today. I know it's night for you over there, so you probably have a lot of things to do, drawings, or maybe even more practice. So I'm gonna let you get to it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.